Good morning friends. Today in this video we will talk about the detailed analysis of RCA in the SAP system. We will understand what is RCA, why it is needed to be prepared, what is the use of it. We will go through in and out about RCA process which is being followed in the SAP environment. So before we move further, I would like to all of you to please subscribe my YouTube channel, like this video, put up your comments if any, and share it in your circle, network, friends, colleagues, co-workers, whoever might need such kind of things to understand. Kindly share. This information is available absolutely free of cost. So it is my humble request to all of you to kindly share it in your circle. Let's move further. RCA means root cause analysis. Root cause means the actual reason for any issue. The main reason for any issue to happen in the system is called as root cause. An analysis is needed to understand why did that happen, why the issue has come up, why the issue occurred, what went wrong. Hope it is clear. Let's move further. Let's go to the contents. So in this video we will see what is RCA, what are the core principles of RCA, what is the advantage of conducting the RCA, situations where RCA needs to be carried out, my personal opinion on RCA process used at a SAP client, and finally we will end this video with conclusion. Let's move further. So what is RCA? Root cause analysis is the process of discovering the root causes of problems in order to identify appropriate solutions. RCA assumes that it is much more effective to systematically prevent and solve for underlying issues rather than just treating ad hoc symptoms and putting off fires. That means we do not believe in just a workaround solution for any given problem. In a proper and systematic way, we try to dig out the issue in deep level and then understand what went wrong and why the issue has occurred and what is the solution for it. RCA can be performed with a collection of principles, techniques and methodologies that can all be leveraged to identify the root causes of an event or trend. Remember, this is to do with mostly in SAP production system. When these kind of things happen during the implementation in the quality or development system, at that point of time a defect is raised, not the RCA kind of thing. RCA is meant for SAP production environment only. Now looking beyond superficial causes and effect, RCA can show where the processes or systems failed or caused an issue in the first place. So basically RCA will pinpoint what went wrong and how that can be prevented in future. What was the actual cause of generating that issue or the place from where the issue has started occurring up. Let's move further. So RCA means root cause analysis. Here C means corrections done. That means what you did in order to sort out that issue. CA means corrective action taken. Means what all steps you have performed to resolve that issue. And PA means preventive action taken. That means the similar issue do not happen in future. What are the steps you are going to take so that that same issue does not get repeated, doesn't happen again in the future? Those are called as preventive steps, preventive action taken, PA. Hope it is clear so far. Let's move further. Now in this slide we will understand what are the core principles of RCA, root cause analysis. So this there are a few core principles this which guides the effective RCA, some of which should already be apparent, and this core principle helps the analysis quality and also help the analyst gain trust and buy-in from stakeholders and clients. That simply means if you perform the RCA in proper manner, you get lot of goodwill at the client location. You will get a good name. So what are the principles which needs to be followed while conducting the RCA? So next six steps what is being given, I will just read out, but these are all very important ones, and these factors must be kept in mind while preparing one RCA document for any critical issue. Focus on correcting and remedying root cause rather than just symptoms. Don't fix it something on the surface level. Try to understand from where this issue is getting generated. Two types of solutions we have: proper solution and workaround solution. Do not just go by the workaround solution. Try to dig deeper into it and to find out what went wrong so that you can give a proper and complete solution. Then don't ignore the importance of treating symptoms for short term relief. So that doesn't mean that you should not give any workaround solution. Usually RCA analysis takes longer time to prepare. It is a time consuming process depending on the criticality and the urgency of the issue. It is not a 2-minute process. It takes time. A proper documentation and the action points needs to be prepared for the RCA. Most of the clients they have their specific a template in which RCA needs to be prepared for all such kind of happenings. You also need to realize that many a times you will not have just one reason. There can be multiple root causes for a single issue. Quite possible. So you have to look from all possible angles. You cannot look just from one angle and to understand how this RCA is getting prepared. So that means you should have a 360-degree coverage for a given issue to understand the single or multiple root causes for a given issue or a ticket or problem. Then you also need to focus on how and why something has happened, and you should not focus too much on who was responsible for that error or issue. Responsibility is something different, but RCS main focus should be how and why something happened, how it has happened and why it has happened, and other things can be taken up separately. You also need to be very methodological methodical, and find concrete, concrete cause and effect evidence to back up your root cause claims. That means if you are saying this issue happened because of this XYZ reasons, you should have a proper backing up with some validity and proofs which can confirm that because of this issue, because of this mistake or whatever thing went wrong, any activity has not been done correctly, this issue got generated. That means logically you will have to explain the connection between what was the reason and what was the impact of it and how it has come into the picture. Then you also need to provide enough information to inform a corrective course of action. I mean preventive measures in other terms if you call it as. That means in order to ensure that the similar kind of issue do not happen in future, what are the steps you can take which will ensure that the similar kind of issue do not reoccur in future. So that also should be part of your root cause analysis documentation. And you also need to, and this is far related to, you should have the enough information and how this will stop happening in future. Those future action plans also need to be maintained. So all these 7 points which is mentioned in this slide needs to be considered while preparing the documentation for root cause analysis or also called as RCA documentation. Let's move further. So what is the advantages of conducting the RCA in SAP? What all the advantages we have? What all the benefits we get? What all the uh, we will get the clarity on, and what will be the impact of it basically? What is the benefit? So the first advantage of RCA is to discover the root cause of a problem or event. We get to know the actual cause which has created the issue. That RCA document will clearly explain you and pinpoint that what was the triggering event which has created the problem. Second advantage what you get is you will also understand how to fix and compensate or sometimes learn from any underlying issues within the root cause. That means the root cause analysis basically will give you a 360-degree analysis of how to go about fixing such kind of issues in future if at all something happens, and that will give you a lot of extra information which otherwise you will not get in general, because RCA is usually a very detailed documentation. It is not just one page documentation. It is usually a very detailed and deep level very detailed documentation basically for a given issue. The third advantage is to apply what we learned from this analysis to systematically prevent future issues or to repeat success. That simply means you get some steps which will ensure that these kind of issues do not occur in future if you implement those steps in your business processes or in the SAP system which was suggested as part of RCA documentation. This will ensure that these things can be avoided in most of the future timings. Then we can also use RCA to modify the core processes and system issues in a way that will prevent future issues. That means it will be working as a preventive action measures. So that also is one of any additional advantage or additional benefit from the RCA documentation. Let's move further. So people might ask, when do we prepare RCA document? When do we need it? In what all situations we need to do that? Do we need to do that in all situations? Some clients demands like that as well. But we need to understand that all issues do not need a RCA documentation. Usually RCA documentation is reserved only for certain category of issues, like if it is a P1 ticket, RCA must be done. To understand the trigger point of the issue, what was the correction steps, and what are the preventive steps which can be taken to prevent it happening in the future. The same goes for the P2 tickets also, because usually P2 tickets also is a high priority ticket and it will have certain implications. So if a similar kind of issues are happening in the P2 level probably multiple times, or even single time if it has the big financial impact, in such cases again RCA need to be prepared. Now other than these two also, if any other critical issue comes up in the picture which is hampering the overall system performance and impacting the multiple users, or system performance is down or something like that, in that situation also the RCA needs to be prepared. So we need to ensure that any other critical incident also, if it is there other than P1 and P2 also, which is impacting the system performance, or some issue which is happening on a regular interval and impacting the overall things, that kind of issues basically needs a RCA documentation which needs to be prepared, so that that can be resolved in totality, not just at the surface level but at the deep level as well. Let's move further. Below is my personal opinion on RCA process used at a client location in SAP side. So first point is RCA must be prepared for any critical issue or incident. This goes without saying, and there should not be any exception to that. If it is any high priority ticket, RCA must be prepared, irrespective whether it is getting repeated or not. This RCA also will help to the new consultants or new members of the team to understand and be ready to fix such kind of issues if at all it happens in future again. So it is very important documentation from the system functionality and system understanding perspective as well. Second point is this RCA must be documented properly. Most of the clients will have a template to fill in, but the client where there is no specific template also, they also need to ensure that all the required information is being captured properly in the RCA documentation and it is being preserved properly. It should not be getting lost, because this is a very important information document from the critical issue resolution perspective. Whatever the follow-up actions are mentioned, or maybe the preventive actions or steps are mentioned in the RCA documentation, that also must be followed by all the people involved into that particular piece of issue. So that needs to be implemented basically. And also on a regular interval, whatever RCA documents are prepared, there should be a proper review done by the seniors of the team. from the AMS side also, it can be done from the client side as well. It should be properly documented, and then it should be preserved also. That means it should be stored electronically or physical form, whatever way it is, to the place, so that if at all it is being need to be retrieved at a later date, it should be readily available for the people to go through it. Hope till now it is clear to you. Let's move further. Now we have come to the conclusion of this particular video. So we have discussed in detail about what is root cause analysis process, what actually it means, what all components it has, and what actually it is used for. Going to further, if you have any query related to this RCA process, you can drop me an email on the given email ID. And finally, we have come to the conclusion of this video. Thank you so much for watching this video, understanding what the RCA is all about. Requesting you all to kindly share this video in your circle, in your network, with your connections, so that everybody gets benefit of it. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.